All right. So, MGTOW, you going to say something?
Hey guys, Angry MGTOW here.
Oh, you cunts have got that like a generic fucking. Hey, MGTOW, what's going on, MGTOW? Hello, men. That's fucking traversable MGTOW. He does that.
Traversable,
What do you
Traversable is he's a good friend of
go
mine.
on.
We all have our intro. I mean, everyone's unique. Sandman says Sandman here, and you know, in his creepy voice, and then Traversable says Hello, man, and you know,
Yeah,
we
that's right. Hello, man. Hello, MGTOW. Look, he's a
that's
cock. He's a fucking cock. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
come on. That's everyone has their own way of introducing themselves. I mean, you
It's,
create
it's, 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 it's
consistency.
I don't say that for the way he introduces himself. Believe me, that's not the issue.
I like the way he introduces himself. No, you're just trying to pick on him because you hate the MGTOW. That's the reason why.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. We have to address this. Why do you think that?
Honestly, I don't. I just want to bust your balls a bit for being so cheeky.
I'm not. No, man, it was a fair question. Okay, so all right. Let's give the people a bit of context. We've got 500 people watching, right? We did a stream, a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, or something, and we were a bit edgy because you made a video about me a few months ago saying Bering is a feminist, like a fucking idiot. And then we did this stream, and I was a bit like, "Fuck this cunt! I'm gonna pwn him. Fuck this guy." But not in a fucking I'm gonna wreck your life kind of way. In a fucking own ya kind of way. And and so I asked you a question in our chat. You discussed how you're a weird MGTOW and you fucking think that women should be extinct and that we should have sex robots and shit. And naturally, that the line of questioning led to, what do you think about when you masturbate? And you weren't fond of that question.
It's funny because I talked with docs. You know, people are really going after me in your comments real quickly. A lot of the women are saying I'm gay. I have a high pitched gay list. Some people are saying I need to be doxxed. Yeah,
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't need to be doxxed. That's ridiculous. That's stupid.
okay. Holy shit! There are people. Stacy King, my old whore. There's a lot of. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of names, but yeah. But back to what were we even talking about?
Ignore the chat then. If you're gonna be fucking straightforward, ignore the chat. So we were talking about the stream that you and I did. It was on a Dindro's channel with Sir Sick as well, and I think you might have felt that we were setting you up and trying to be nasty, but we honestly weren't. Well, we went into that thing just looking to have a chat. We know that we're different. We know that, and so it was about exploring how we are different and having a laugh at each other, for Christ's sake.
Well, here's the thing about the chat, and I didn't really have the time to. I guess it wasn't entirely you. It was at the time, and Endindro. This is the funny thing. Endindro, I actually
Oh,
talked.
sorry, just 1 sec, chat. This isn't the guy from this morning. This is not the MGTOW dude from this morning. That dude's a fuckstick. This is another guy. This guy's not as bad. All right, sorry, proceed.
Okay, so yeah, and Deandro, you know, he's the one who helped get me and you together. So he's the one who like facilitated us on the stream. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you organised our first date. Yeah.
Our first date, and the funny thing is, like, when I got onto the stream, he was. I don't think he noticed what he was doing. I don't think it was Sir Sick. I think it was Andrino. On one hand, you guys, you know, he was saying this is a relaxed stream. On the other hand, he started ranting a little bit about the things that I was saying. So it's hard to kind of relax when you know, there was a bit of aggression in there, and
Yeah.
you know, again, and it was you know, I wasn't with friends. It was literally three against one.
No, that's fair enough. I do think you had a set of balls about you for coming onto that stream. But I mean, I as I started sort of saying to you before we went live. I mean, I heard you. I think it was yesterday on a stream with turd flinging monkey. Who, by the way, I watch his videos. I really like turd flinging monkey. I have for ages. And so I heard you speaking with him, and and he said, why didn't you answer Bearing when he said, what do you think about when you masturbate? And your reply was something like, well, because I thought, like, oh, they're setting me up and I might end up being called a pedophile or something, and that's so far from the truth. There's not a chance we'd fucking call you a pedophile, man. That's fucked. That's not on.
I mean, like I said, it was in that moment, people look for anything to kick off, and I can tell that you're kind of a epic troll of sorts. You're just doing this for shits and giggles, but in the moment, I was just a bit apprehensive. That's all.
So what do you masturbate to?
You're not gonna let that. I masturbate to beer porn, sexy bitch beers, like Sugar Tits. She just, I love that picture of Sugar Tits. She has those berry lips and everything.
Okay. Hey, which lips are you talking about? Which end?
What was that?
Which end are you talking about? Which lips?
Which lips? Oh, come on.
All right, let's get to the meat of it. Let's have a difficult conversation. So, what do you masturbate to? No, you're fond of anime, like cartoon shit, aren't you? That's fair enough.
You're going back. You really want me to?
Well, that's
really fucking having this. Really want to know what I jerk off to? You're really you're really a pervert. You know that, right?
No, I'm not perverted at all. I don't take pleasure in. That's why I want to get over and done with. I don't take pleasure in knowing what you masturbate to. But you're like, I want a world where chicks don't exist and it's just men and utopia. And so naturally, what do you fucking jerk? There's no chicks around. What do you jerk it to?
Okay, all right. I'll answer your question. You answer one of mine. I'll answer yours. That's fair, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're fucking Sugar Tits. Does your dick ever slide into her ass accidentally?
Once, maybe twice. It's not pretty. She fucking reacts. Let me tell you.
You ever get shit on your dick before?
No, I haven't. No. I was about to say not Sugar Tits is shit, but I don't know, come to think of it, no one shit. No.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Were they satisfactory answers? Or?
Honestly, I like it's. The masturbation question, I guess there's a reason why I divert from it. I have an Angry MGTOW Part 2 channel, and I'm becoming a bit sensitive to that whole thing. Lately I've been finding myself unable to enjoy real women.
I don't want a fucking 3-hour discussion on it. Just
no. I'm being clear. Like I these days I masturbate to anime stuff because I'm not really interested in real women anymore. It's kind of fucked up to say it like that, but I'm increasingly less interested.
What are we talking, like tentacle shit or like
just like really pretty anime girls or hentai or even in sensual relationships. It's kind of fucked up, but I kind of see the prospect of being with an imaginary woman more likely than being with a real woman. And I'm not putting myself down. I'm just saying, for me, in the sense, I'm just not as attracted to women anymore. I don't see myself being attracted to them.
For a bloke that foresees a world with no women, that's probably a practical point of view.
Yeah, I know, fucked up. And I know, like, the women in your chat are probably like trying to find out who I am so they can like kill me, but
no, they're right. We're all having a laugh. That's innocent shit, man. So tell me, that video that you made about me. Let's get into that, because that was something we could have argued at the time, but I couldn't really fuck, right? So how come I'm a feminist? How does that make sense?
Well, let's talk about your ideologies of what exactly you think about feminism and equality. First off, first wave feminism, second wave feminism, third wave feminism. Do you believe that women deserve the right to vote?
Yep.
Okay, that's first wave feminism. Do you believe that women should have equal representation?
In terms of?
Equal representation in, let's say, in government, equal representation in education, equal representation in the workforce.
Equal representation, no. Equal opportunity, yes.
Well, here's the problem. With feminism, they see equal opportunity and equal representation as the same thing. Equal, or should I say equal outcome.
Yeah, I know they do, and it's fucked. That's one of the things I severely dislike about them.
Why do you believe that women should have the right to vote?
Because it's because women are adult people just like men are, and we all live in the same country. Well, why shouldn't they be able to decide who our leaders are?
Okay. Well, I don't know how things work in Australia, but in the United States, if a man doesn't sign up for the draft, he can be thrown in jail. He loses the right to vote. He loses access to financial aid. He can lose pretty much everything if he does not sign up for the draft.
Yep.
So you will lose your right to vote you'll lose your right to vote if you don't sign up for the draft.
Yep.
The reason in the US why men got the right to vote was because of that provision that we had to sign up for the draft. And a lot of men died
Yep.
after the Civil War, which was really bloody. Women did not go through that. In fact, in the Civil War, women and children were protected. You literally had men getting together on battlefields, setting times and places where they're going to fight each other, but making sure that women are spared from this. And I find it completely irrational to think that women should have the right to vote, but they don't have the responsibility with having to put their lives on the line. And this is something that was challenged by the Supreme Court. Initially, the Supreme Court found that women did not need to register for the draft because they were limited by the specific jobs that they could hold in the military. However, recently under President Obama, they changed things so women can essentially hold any role in the armed forces now that a man can hold, but yet they still don't have to register for the draft. And a lot of women, the truth is, if it came down to defending the country, I've had women say to me that they would flee to Canada before they would go fight in a war.
Yeah. And so you're saying that's an injustice. That's highly unfair that men have to fight wars and women don't.
Well, it's the responsibility. We get the privilege to vote because we have the responsibility that also comes with a man, knowing that your life can be put on the line at any given moment. We have a lot of social responsibilities as a man. Women have a lot of privileges that they get, and they don't even realize it. And I think that if women want the right to vote, they also need to register for the draft and have the same amount of responsibilities and risk that we do as men. I read an article where a woman said that it's the duty of men to to die and protect the country, and making women sign up for the draft wouldn't be fair because women should be able to choose, but it should not be something that they are forced to do, while men have a duty to do this. And then we say this she says that in the name of equality. That's not equality. That's at closest, that's some form of equity, but it's really privilege. Women having the privilege to do what they choose to do, and men having the requirement to do as they are told to do.
So are you saying that that because men have the responsibility of risking their lives and putting their lives on the line, that men should be the only ones that have the privilege of voting? Is that what you're saying?
I absolutely agree. Like I said, if women want the right to vote, then they should be required to sign up for the draft.
I've got a slightly different take on it, though. I mean, let's go back. Let's go back further than 100 years or a couple of 100 years. Let's go right back to just after we were fucking monkeys or whatever the fuck we were. Think about how people evolved, right? And what our I hate to use the fucking term, but think about our gender roles, right? Think about what we had to do in order to survive. We had to make people. We had to make new people, and we had to then make sure that those people survived in order for them to make new people. If that didn't happen, you or I wouldn't be here, would we?
Right.
Right. So the thing that women contribute and have historically contributed is childbirth. It's childbirth. I mean, in the past, childbirth was very, very risky. Chicks died all the time from giving birth. They still can. It's certainly a lot less risky these days. But that is the trade-off. That women make the people, we protect the people. That's how it's always been.
It was the trade-off. You need to say it was the trade-off. In modern society, women have...
Hang on a sec. Hang on. Women are still the ones that make people. Blokes
Women
can't.
are still the ones who make people, but they use that more as a monopoly. In other words, they are the gatekeepers to reproduction. However, women now have from the pill to C-sections and many different options. Women basically, they're the gatekeepers to reproduction. That doesn't mean that they should get special consideration. I mean, when a woman gets pregnant, everyone says, "Oh, can I rub your belly?" Why doesn't anyone say to me, "Hey, can I rub your dick," and pat me on the back?
You're a fucking idiot. I was going to say, all right, look, that's in my opinion. If you look at it practically, that's why we evolved to. I mean, that's why men are bigger, right? Because we had to go out and we had to fight and to make sure that the people stayed alive. The women had to make new people. It's as simple as that. That's why we evolved the way we did, right? Now it's only in the last couple of 100 years or even 100 years that it's become much easier to conceive and less risky to have a child. Now let's have a think about the practicalities of what you're saying. I mean, because women don't have the responsibility of defending the country, they shouldn't be able to vote. Okay, so women are adult people just like you and me,
right?
So if they were to gain the right to vote in your mind, they should be going to war. Now, what happens when women go to war? What are the results of women going to war?
They'll probably be killed off much faster than men. That's if they're put on the front lines. However, keep in mind that there are many roles in war. There are people who, the majority of people involved in war are not going to be the people on the front line. It's going to be the people who are in support roles. So there's a lot of women who could be placed in support roles that could work in as engineers, mechanics, doctors.
But hang on, let me just cut in for a second, right? So you're saying women should go to war but not be on the front line. So what's the difference if a woman goes to war and he's not on the front line? He's back doing the support roles. What's the difference if she was at home in the factories making ammunition? There's no difference.
Oh, there's a big difference. You see, here's the thing. They still have to go overseas. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't be put on the front lines either. The only issue with putting a woman on the front lines is that there's a practical argument. If you put a woman on the front lines, the men are naturally going to instinctively protect the woman, and it could jeopardize their own safety as well as the safety of the entire unit. That's been a practical argument.
And to be frank, they're going to get fucking raped like all hell, mate. It's going to be mass rape.
What, the men are going to rape the women? Not
the men on her side. Like if the enemy catches a bunch of women, they're going to get abused and tortured, mate. God.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Think about this carefully. In the last 10 years, how many women have had their heads chopped off? Not that many. They get captured, they get raped. Sure, they get raped, but they're still alive, and they still have to. And there's still a possibility that they may be able to be saved or rescued. A man gets captured, he gets his head chopped off. I'm not saying that rape is a pleasurable or great thing, but at least they have a chance at survival. A man is just discarded off.
Hang on a sec. So let's envisage the same battle, right? We're in the same battle and we've got women comrades, right? Do you honestly think that if a heap of men and women got caught, they would kill the men, but they'd only rape the women? They'd rape the women, then kill all of them.
That's not something that we've noticed, actually. In many situations, when a woman has been captured, we've seen it time and time again with ISIS, with the Taliban. They don't kill the women. They keep the women hostage. They use her, they rape her, but they don't typically kill them. That's not true.
Yeah, but do you see my point at all with the the historical roles? Like, do you see the validity?
I see what you're trying to say, but at the same time, I look at it like this: just because a woman has been having those, had babies, the man was protecting her. The man was also part of the process of having the child. She was very much just the incubator. And
but hang on a second. You got to that's and then take care of him, look after him. I mean, it's not, your body doesn't change dramatically. You're not pushing a fucking watermelon out of your sphincter. It's a bit different.
I mean, You could say I don't have a lot of sympathy for women, and that's kind of obvious. But I mean, again, I can see what you're saying in the sense that women definitely had a role that they had to play, and they had to put more output. That was back then. These days, it's different now. Women, women have the babies, but also they have the babies. They control if a baby is, if a baby gets to come into this world or not, and that's something that we have to consider. We live in an age where women are call themselves equal. They say they are equal to men. If you say that you're equal to a man, then we want equal. Then you have to. Then you have. You have to take on an equal role. You can't say you want equality and then go for equity.
So what about this? What about let's just say a war started, and what about a woman who is pregnant? Should a woman who is pregnant, right, have her husband go off to war, and she stays home, being pregnant for the whole term, and she's still not allowed to vote? I mean, isn't she doing a service by creating a person for that country? I mean, what about that sort of scenario?
No, honestly, here's the thing. I don't think that a woman deserves a pat on the back for having a baby in modern age. If you look at the United States, there have been 58 million abortions in the United States since Roe versus Wade passed in 1973. And since 1973, there have also been over 1 billion abortions worldwide, something like 1.6 billion. You can't turn around and say that women get a pat on the back for having babies, when in reality they play the game of life and death every day. Who gets to live and who gets to die? I just don't see it. I don't see giving women credit for having children and having children as a big service. Honestly, I think that the government should begin controlling who has children or not. And it may sound outrageous, but they say that the word fuck originates from fornication under the consent of the king, where there were specific times when people were allowed to have sex. That's what I've heard, where specific times people were actually allowed to actually have sex. I mean, think about this. You need a license to go fishing. You need a license to drive. You need a license to do practically anything.
I don't like where you're going with
this. And so, yeah, no. But you can bring a baby. You can bring a baby into the world. You can create another human being without any type of guidance. That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Think about that.
Look. I can partially see your point only for the fact that the world is overpopulated. That's the only angle I can see it from. But let me just ask you, right? Let's just say. But let's change the scenario we're faced with, right? Let's just say a massive war happens, and fucking 99% of humankind gets wiped off the face of the earth, right? So there's now a very, very small population. Would your views align more with mine then? Would childbirth then be something that is contributing to society?
Obviously, childbirth is still necessary to sustain the population. I think that part of my rationalization goes beyond just the concept of women contributing to the population sustainability. I think that women don't have the same cognitive capacity and way of thinking that men do. Women and men are different. When you look at female voting behaviors, women are more collectivist. They tend to vote in a collectivist setting, and they tend to vote for more socialist and communist type programs. They follow a more Marxist regime. Men, on the other hand, approach things from historically approach things from practicality and rationality. And I think that when you allow women to vote, they don't vote very well. They basically vote for safety and protection and things that award them resources. I mean, for a lot of women, the idea is
they're half the population. Sure, don't I mean.
Half the population, but they don't do half the work. Women make 85% of all consumer purchases. Men pay 85% of all income taxes. Think about that big difference. That's a big difference, mate.
Yeah, I've often, and I want to at some stage do some numbers on that and make a video highlighting that to combat the feminist wage gap fucking bullshit. Like that's such a good counterpoint, isn't it? Well, women are spending 85% of the consumer expenditure. So if you really want to fucking even this gap, sure, let's even up the wage gap, right? We'll sacrifice some wage and give it to you, but you've got to even up the spendings gap. So as soon as we give it to you, you've got to give us X back to even up the fucking spending gap.
Well, it's funny when you look at the so-called wage gap because the UN released a report about a year ago or a little over maybe a year or two ago. I think it was about 2 years ago. And in the UN report, they basically were talking about what would lead to equality for women. And they concluded that the only way for women to actually make the same amount of money as men or more money than men is to basically pay women for the time when they're not working. Essentially, basically, women need more paid time off and paid access to childcare. That is absolutely ridiculous. What they're basically saying is that men work more than women do, and even if you pay women more than men, you're not for even if you pay women more than men per hour, men will still probably earn more than women. So what you have to do is you have to pay women for the time that they're not actually working. This way, they will. This way, they will be able to make as much as a man does. That's a fucked up argument, and it just shows the
Oh,
inequality
I
that
agree
we
with you.
have.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But the funny
I
the
agree.
funny thing is you agree with me, but a lot of women agree with the UN. Think about that carefully. And that's why I say, you say they're half the population, but half the population makes these types of decisions. Half the population believes half the
Not really.
population
No,
ha-
woman doesn't equal feminist.
feminism is just basically female nature left unchecked. When you allow women to run amok and do what they want and to have essentially the greater say in society.
Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that.
Okay.
What was that? Feminism is women left unchecked in society. Is that what it was?
It's when female nature is left unchecked. That's what feminism is. It's the most extreme form of female nature.
When you say unchecked, do you mean is that like a way of saying away from men, like without the association of men,
No,
or
what
is
I'm
it?
saying is when essentially we can't you can't do everything and anything that you want to. You have to have self-control, and men have self-control. But when women don't have to have self-control, they don't have to have self-rationalization. They basically, they can act in any way that they want to behave. Their core nature comes out, and I believe their core nature is that of feminism.
Why? Why do you say that?
I mean, if you look at patterns throughout history and look at the fall of Rome, there's a lot of documentation that suggests that Rome fell because after no fault divorces were introduced in Rome, women began getting loads of them, and men and women, their relationships deteriorated. Women stopped wanting to have children or should I say, take care of their children, and essentially society began to collapse as women gained more rights. They also became more narcissistic. As they became so-called more equal, they began exhibiting behaviors where in other words, they acted like men, or they thought they were men, but then they at the same time they wanted to be women, and they basically ran amok in society without any self-realization of that. I have to control my behavior. I have to be practical about outcome. I have to be practical about spending. I have to be practical about society, because I mean, men create societies, and I believe women tear them down. Within chaos, that's how women thrive.
I get that. I get that a little bit. I get that a little bit. So tell me about the future, man. Like if it all goes the way that you were outlining in the last stream that we did, how would that work? Like how would the world get to a point where it's a all male utopia? Like where would eggs come from to make babies?
Where would eggs come from to make babies? Well, to be honest with you, I don't know if you've watched one of my most recent podcasts. I was actually talking about scientists are raising the warning bells because they've recently been able to create mice using skin cells. And not only are skin cells not only can skin cells be used in the place of eggs and sperm, but they're saying that this theoretically means that other cells within the body can also potentially be used to create create sperm cells and egg cells. And the sperm cells and egg cells no longer have to come from a woman. Don't forget, men have both an X and Y chromosome. So essentially, you can get an egg cell and you can create an egg cell and a skin cell from different men, or even potentially from the same man if you're able to separate the genetic material between the mother and his mother and father. That's pushing things a little bit, but they've actually already been able to do just this, creating babies that have only male fathers, male parents, and not females. The only thing that women are involved in is acting as the incubators. And don't forget that the artificial womb is making some major progresses right now. We've also seen some mice that were born in artificial wombs recently over the last 2 years. And the process is still very shaky with that. But in terms of creating children without women, without eggs from a woman, that is very serious. That is they did something like there was like a 30% success rate, and the babies that were born using only cells from men were healthy mice, healthy pups. So that is a consideration that we don't need women anymore, but in the very near future for the actual act of reproduction, we only need an incubator, them as an incubator. And beyond that, once we have an artificial womb, women won't be needed at all for the process of reproduction.
You've sold me. Hear that, chicks? Fuck off. Don't need you. Do you know Miss Maple? Do you know of Miss Maple, the transgender woman?
That's maybe. I don't. Is that the one who said that it's sexist if men don't want to have sex with a transgender woman?
No, that's fucking Riley Dennis. No. This Miss Maple is probably 40 years old, and is dead set, like upset that she can't get pregnant. I'm wondering, can they make wombs that they put into trans dudes? Like, can we put one of these wombs into a...
It's funny that you bring up that topic, and this probably people are going to be getting shits and giggles, but there were some doctors who were looking at the concept of a man getting pregnant recently, and they said that there's technically no reason why it would not be theoretically possible for a man's body to actually support a baby. I know, as crazy as that sounds. So we can
a man would obviously need a fucking womb. A man doesn't have a womb.
He doesn't have a womb, but that, again, there are things that can be done. You can build an artificial structure. There are things that can be done to potentially create the environment where a man could sustain the life of a child.
We could just hang it off the back of like our scrot bag. Just have two ball sacks, one massive one behind it.
Again, it's funny to say it like that. I know, Bearing, but it is something that they have talked about. Now, do I see men having
hanging a worm off your fucking gooch? Like
I doubt you're gonna. Well, no, you're not gonna have it. You're not gonna hang a worm off your nutsack. They would obviously have to, they'd obviously have to weave things around a little bit. But again, I don't think that men are gonna end up having babies. I think that it'll be the artificial womb that allows the full gestation to occur. But I do see women being eliminated from the actual need of cultivating eggs. Now, the technology could eventually be restricted to only women. For example, there's women in their 50s or women who are just not able to produce eggs, and this could potentially open the route for them to have children later on in life or have children at all. So they might say, well, we're only going to restrict the technology to women, but I don't think that's going to happen because of the LGBT community, who are going to say that it should be their right to be able to have children on their own. And the thing is, if you say gay men can use the technology,
they are too, aren't they? That's coming, isn't it?
Yeah. So here's the thing: if you say gay men can have children, then it'd be discriminatory to say that non-gay men could not use the same technology, and that's really where it's going to hit women where it hurts. Think about that carefully. And women are lazy. I think that a lot of women, if given the opportunity to have a child without actually having to get pregnant and do any of that stuff, who wouldn't want to do that? Think about that. Who wouldn't want to be able to have a baby without actually having to put in any of the work?
Just thinking about this, how you said apparently they can make like egg cells off
skin
cells and shit. So if it's an all male utopia, then because the whole idea of having two sexes is that we diversify the gene pool and we protect against mutations and that sort of shit. So
correct.
So it'd have to be from someone else, and if there's only dudes, you'd be literally having a child with another dude.
That's correct. Although I did say earlier that they did suggest potentially using. They did suggest the possibility that they might be able to separate the genes from both your mother and your father, because we get half of our genes from mom, half of our genes from dad. So
Yeah.
if you can separate those genes, then you can potentially have a person who has a child using just his genes. But
Well,
the
no. But the idea is that you shouldn't, because that's why when.
dude, I can't hear you anymore.
Hello.
Yeah, you went out. You were gone for a little bit.
Yeah. Am I back now?
You're back now.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, I mean, that's the whole reason that there's two sexes is to diversify the gene pool.
You'd be cutting it close in that way. But again, that's the reason why you would you can just get a skin cell from a bro. I mean, I could always just say I could say to my best friend, "Hey, bro, you want to have a baby?" And he's like,
do you have to like romance it? You have to bring him flowers and chocolates. So you go, bro, you get out on one knee and go, can I have one of these skin cells?
The funny thing about that is that it also brings up some ethical dilemmas. For example, they're saying that you can, getting a skin cell or potentially other cells from a person's body, you can use it to create a sperm cell or an egg. So think about this carefully. They're talking about the implications that, imagine if you are able to get someone's cell without their consent. Someone takes off a bandage and it has remnants of their skin cells on it. Those skin cells
Child support.
There you go. Exactly. And we already know how the law rules in that sense. For example, if a man comes in a condom and he throws it in the trash, a woman goes and picks it up from the trash, puts it in herself, or has embryos created using his sperm. The court rules that he's discarded the material, so it's no longer his property. But if she has a baby using it, he still has the responsibility for taking care of the child, even though he never actually engaged in a sexual relationship towards producing that child or consented in the creation of that child. We've seen that actually play out in court, and he ends up having to pay child support. So most naturally, if he threw a Band-Aid away and she picked it up and did that, she would be able to entrap him. Is something that could potentially happen to celebrities as well. So that's something we have to think about.
You know what, bro? You know what? I'm going to tell you something. If you and I had a baby.
Oh gosh, we both know that I'm the masculine man, and you're
I'd make a wonderful dad.
You're the bitch.
You are the mum. Top one if Angry MGTOW is the mum. One for Angry MGTOW being mum. Just give that about 10 seconds and see who's
you're saying this on a biased channel, Bear.
It's not biased at all. It's level-headed people.
You realize that my personality in a relation.
You're the mum. You're the mum.
Bear, you realize that if we were fags, I'd constantly beat you, right?
I'm not a fag. Fucking hell! Look at all that support. Look, this one cunt's going 2 because he's your gay lover. Fucking everyone reckons I'm the dad.
Oh God! You having fun? You having a good time?
I honestly am. Are you not having fun? Are you having a bad time?
I'm having a miserable time.
You're well, man. At least we established fucking what you think about it when you jack off. That was the main thing. So I'm quite happy we got there. But look, I tell you, it has been very, very informative. I mean, I got the impression when you did that turd flinging monkey stream that you thought that I was some kind of enemy out to get you. I hope you don't feel that way anymore. We're able to have a laugh and give each other shit.
Yeah, something along the lines. One thing I want to say is that
I'm offended. I'm offended, cunt. Get off the stream.
One thing I want to say, Bearing, is that a lot of people may think that I am extremely radical, but something that I do consider is that
You kind of are. You are extremely radical.
I,
Like you
one
are.
thing that I want to get out there is that even though I say a lot of these very radical things, I don't necessarily believe that many of them will potentially happen. The reason why I say some of the things is because I'm trying to establish somewhat of a balance. You know, if you think about radical feminism is an extreme, and I think that we need our own extremity as men, because this way at some point maybe we can all come and meet in the center. But you know, in a negotiation, people always are going to they're always going to throw out the lowest denominator. You know, they're the lowest amount. And right
Yeah, but
now,
that's obviously going to be like future generations, yeah. Because there's not a chance you're meeting up with a chicken skipping through the fields all fucking happy and I was going to say gay, but
yeah,
not gay.
that's not good. It's not going to, things are, men and women aren't going to get along in this generation. That's for sure. Things
You're
are
not going to get along with chicks. I mean, I get along with tits just fine.
you with tits just fine. She's kind of like a man though, isn't she? And she's
Oh,
a
she's more. I mean, not in a physical sense, obviously. Ooh, gross. She's a good mate of mine. She's not an uptight chick, put it that way.
alrighty, bro.
All right, bro. So just remember, you're the mum. If we ever get there, you're the mum. But it was good chatting with you, man. And it was yeah. I hope you think that I'm yeah
Okay,
that I'm a
so you
masculine.
know, so you don't have anything against me at all.
I honestly don't. I never did. I never did. I knew that one day I'd have a cheeky shot back at you for that feminist video because you're fucking wrong. I did. I had a cheeky crack back at you. That's not a reason to hate someone. That's not a reason to hold a grudge against someone. Calling someone a fucking pedo like that fucking faggot cunt mate of yours. That's a reason to hold a grudge. Even though I won't hold a grudge against him, I'll troll the fuck out of him. You watch. This will be funny as fuck. But what's that guy's deal anyway? He keeps saying, look at my photo, I'm handsome, I'm tall. He's a fat fucking ugly cunt. He's about 50 years old. He's got flab hanging off his arms. He's got fucking his tattoos droop. You know those fat cunts who have tattoos and they go all bent out of shape. They just look like shit. He's one of those
Who are
cunts.
you talking about?
You fucking faggot, mate. Fucking traversable MGTOW.
Oh, don't talk about traversable like that.
Oh
Listen,
no, he can just call me a pedo. That's fine, and I'll be
I don't
nice.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Okay, I
And
don't agree with that at
okay,
all. I'm not going to sit here and say I agree with that. I don't agree with him calling you a pedo. And I probably glimpsed it, and I don't agree with that. Traversable is a good
you
guy.
probably what? You probably what?
No, I said I don't agree with it,
No,
and
you said. Did you say glimpsed it?
I probably glimpsed at the comment because I remember
Oh,
seeing
right.
briefly something where he said something to you, but you know, again, I
He,
don't
he,
agree
made,
with him
he, made,
saying.
he made a 35-minute video rambling on, and his only point was Bearing is a pedophile. Go listen to it.
I don't agree with that. Okay, because I know like you have to be so careful with that these days. The fastest thing, the easiest way that people attack us is to say that we're a pedophile. And the moment that someone says that this person's a pedo, it doesn't even matter if it's true or not. You can be socially outcasted because it creates so much anger among people. So I understand that it's not a good thing. And I'll probably speak to Traversable about it and say,
Oh no! I don't want you to like, have a serious chat with him. Fuck him. Let him stay angry because I want to troll the fuck out of him. To be honest with you, so I want him to be angry. Just sit back and enjoy the show.
well, you know what? I'm not gonna. I prefer not to get involved as it is. So, yeah, I'll let you
Hear
guys
that?
sort it
Hear that?
out.
Traversable MGTOW. Me and Angry MGTOW are fucking teaming up to fuck you in the
No, no,
ass.
we're not. No, we are not. No,
Metaphorically,
we are
cunt.
not.
Metaphorically.
No, we are not. You bastard bear.
Oh, I've got my sound bite that I wanted, so fuck off. No, it was good to talk to you, man. And look, we might do this again, but it was good to thrash it out with you and establish that you're the mum and I'm the dad.
Fuck you, you dirty bear.
All right, see you later, mate. Good to speak to you.
All right.